how to sit, right? Rolling? Okay, how to sit. So let's say he has pain right now sitting down. He's in lumbar flexion, and I want to take him out of lumbar flexion. I can do a couple things. Yeah, I can shove something back there to give him a passive lumbar support. I only really do that when the patient's traveling. So if they're going to be sitting in the car for a long time, if they're going to be sitting in the plane for a long time, especially in the plane, it's like negative back support. It like goes in. Doesn't matter how new the plane is. All right. I'll also train anything travel. I'll coach them how to sit and set up in the chair, and then put the lumbar support there so it gives them a little passive extension there. Okay. But if they're at work and they sit for work, I'm going to teach them how to sit. Now, what I want to do is I want to position their hips in a specific position. Their knees are going to have to be a specific height underneath their hips in comparison, right? But it has to be passive. It can't be actively sitting up with good posture, all right? So the problem with backs of chairs is it makes you fall into this position. It doesn't matter how much back support the chair has. And there is no perfect computer chair, because some of the bottom, right? So if you have somebody who have a chair with really good lumbar support, the bottom part of the chair might be really long. So if you have short femurs, it's kind of non-advantageous if that's the case, because then you won't be able to reach the back support, so you end up falling into more lumbar flexion. Okay? So what I'm going to do is have you scoot towards the edge. Good. And so I want the thighs off, but I want the whole butt on there, okay? And basically what you're going to do is you're going to try and sit on the anterior portion of the ischial tuberosity. The patient doesn't understand that, but you're almost kind of hanging your butt onto the chair. So if you see here, he's actually has decent posture, but he's still in lumbar flexion here. What I'm going to do, we can't have the legs together, and we can't have the legs crossed, because that shuts down space for the hips when we start to dial the pelvis forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit relatively comfortable here, and I'm going to dial the pelvis forward until he gets in the lumbar lordosis, and then I'm going to ask him to hold this position and completely relax his stomach. And so immediately when he held that position, relaxed his stomach, he fell into more flexion. This chair is too low for him. And you can see from the side here, the top of the knee is actually above the hip. So anything that he's going to sit up in good posture, he's going to actively be holding himself in that good posture. So he's going to be actively using his hip flexors to keep good posture. He's going to be actively using his extensors to keep good posture. He's going to get tightness and discomfort in the front of his hips and in his mid-back. So go ahead and stand up. So I'm going to move that. I will add to this. So I actually prescribe patients to not use the back of the chair when at work. I have them bump the chair up as high as they can, have a seat on the edge, there, wider feet, and it's easier to keep this position, just relax everything down. Let it go. Good. And so it's a little bit easier, yeah? And so just let everything go. We don't have to hyperextend. Go ahead and relax. Round your back. Good. And you could, if you watch from the side too, watch so you see he's in a little anterior head carriage. I do this for neck patients as well. This is called Brugger's cogwheel. Okay? Brugger's cogwheel. So I dial, cervical spine comes up, now it's stacked midline. Okay? And so now the knees are below the hips, the feet are nice and wide, he can relax. The key here is when I get in this position, can he relax the stomach and not collapse into flexion here? Sometimes that's really hard for people, right? That's relatively comfortable, right?
Yeah.
You can sit there for a long time, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Which one do you think you'd be able to sit longer in holding the posture in the chair, or this one here?
Probably this one.
This one, yeah. So it's less active it's less activity of holding this up. It's more passive. And that's what we want. We want it to be more passive so we can stay there a little bit longer. And ideally, he does get up every 20, 30 minutes, right? So we'll just go into the next one, which is what? sit to stand. So let's say he goes to stand up, and he does that. So his torso comes really far forward, and he gets locked here. Oh, and he has trouble coming up. Good, sit down. And that hurt him too, going down, because he just flexed in the lumbar spine. To coach him coming up, I'm going to go feet together, 1 foot front, 1 foot back. Yep. Feet together, 1 foot a little bit forward, 1 foot back, more, good, and for a little bit wider, good. And he's going to come forward and then stand straight up, there. And so if you have a chair, the back foot can go underneath. It's much easier. I know this is short, but you'll understand what I'm saying. Have a seat there. This is just to show you that back foot coming forward, scoot towards the edge. Okay, 1 foot forward a little bit, the other foot back, more, a little bit wider feet. There you go, and stand straight up. And so you can keep that upright torso. To go down, we're gonna widen the feet, here, hands here, and slide back, and straight down. There, okay, and then come up, straight up. So the torso is staying upright. We're not going in lumbar flexion. Now sit on here. So it's going to be a lot easier for you here, because this is where we're going to... Good, right there. No, that's perfect. You guys are laughing. That's exactly what I want. That's exactly what you want. Because the look on their face is going to be like, oh my God, I didn't have pain. They're waiting for it. But you're not putting them into their mechanism. So he exaggerated wide legs, wide chest here. I tell him that. I want a fat power lifter stance here. And I'm going to go straight down, because I clear more room in the hips for hip flexion. I'm externally rotating if they have retroverted hips. If they have anteverted hips, I can't go as wide. But I'm not going to need to, because they're going to have the room for flexion when they're a little bit closer together, because they have more internal rotation. The anteverted hips does. Okay? So again, stand up. So for here, he's not going to be able to do that, so you can go feet a little wider. There, a little bit more. There. And then you can drop this one back here and bring that one a little bit more forward. Good. And stand straight up. Good. And so come out here. And it's not so much, watch me here. It's not so much as I'm staying on this back leg. I'm from the hips and then straight up this way. I'm not standing back here. I'm coming up there. I'm just not going there. Okay, try it again. Yeah. Good. Literally, that might be the only thing that keeps him out of pain. I'm serious. This is legit. This is real life. This might be the only thing that keeps them out of pain. So you have somebody that's come into your office that can't move. They can't sit up, they can't stand, they can't sit on the toilet, they can't brush their teeth, they can't wipe their butt, they can't put their shoes on. These are ADLs. And you're teaching them tools how to do this stuff. Okay? Now I'm not going to teach you how to wipe your butt. There is a technique. It depends on what side. It's a static opener, essentially, or a dynamic opener. Which is might have to get used to using the other hand. I'm just kidding. All right, ready? Up. Excellent. That's perfect. Good. And then relax. Good. All right, let's practice.